Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. If you are an entrepreneur, business owner, you may think that your business is solid. You're providing your services, maybe it's a product, but consider this. The most important part of your business is your financial infrastructure. What's going on behind the scenes? Yes, I'm talking about your bookkeeping, how you're dealing with a financial situation, your tax preparation, all of that. If it's something that you don't want to deal with, you look the other way. Maybe you have somebody doing it, but you wonder if they're doing it the right way. I found somebody that you can call upon to help you really reach your goals and take a lot of this off your plate so you don't even have to worry about it. She is Benazir Hussain. She joins us today, and we're going to learn a lot. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good. How about you, Steve?
Very well. Uh, what are you hearing from the people you connect with, business owners, entrepreneurs, with what they're dealing financially with right now? What do you hear?
Uh, Cash flow is a major issue for a lot of entrepreneurs, right? And not every one of us are, finance savvy. We are good at what we do,
Yeah.
right? I'm good with numbers. I suck at marketing, right? It gives me the
Okay,
chills.
so
Just
I'm
thinking
good at
about it.
marketing. I'm good at marketing. I suck at numbers. I loathe it. It is the most fantastic free. Kudos to you. It is the most boring thing in my world. You look over there. I got invoices just generated because I needed to get them done today. Yeah.
Yes,
Continue.
that's what I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs. All those tasks, they keep on, piling up, and end of the year, it's a lot of stress for them, a lot of stress, and it's just, not just getting to know what their numbers are, what their profit is, what their bottom line is. And then you have the tax deadlines,
Mm,
right? And a lot of people who reach out to me, they are really at the end of the road. They don't know. They have the tax authorities chasing them, get on top of their filings. And they think they're making money. But at the end of the day, how much are they really making, right? When we start our journey as entrepreneurs, we want to be, the masters of our own finances. We want to, be in control of our life.
sure.
But that whole process, we actually lose a lot of that control. We let things happen because we are not the masters of all the trades. We should know when we, reach out and ask for help from a professional who will, lead us to the right path.
Mm. And I'm sure it's a product of people saying, "Well, it may not be perfect, but it's okay. It's okay." Meanwhile, they're not peeling back the layers to discover that it's not okay. You're hemorrhaging money. You had no idea what's really going on, and you could even have, the bookkeeper taking care of it. Maybe they're not the most qualified. Maybe it's time to look around. I've dealt with that. I
Yeah.
personally have dealt with a situation where I thought things were being taken care of. Um, there was not good communication between the bookkeeper and the accountant.
Yeah.
And there were, I'm just going to say, major issues. This is
Yeah.
going back like 7 years. I'm just going to leave it at that. It was, it was,
Yes.
it was
I hear
quite
you. I hear
impactful.
you, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, a lot of people coming to me, I tell them what their expectations are when it comes to communication. And I realize, it can be scary, finances can be scary for a lot of people, right? And I like to break it down into smaller steps for them, not to overwhelm them, give them clear guidance, what they're expected to do, and what help they can expect from me. And it is surprising, when I onboard new clients, and when I ask them for documents, they don't have the stuff that they should have from their previous, their accountant or their bookkeeper. And I'm a very transparent person, you know.
Hmm.
I I don't like hoarding all the information and keeping it to myself because I'm scared, my clients, once they have all the knowledge, they won't need me. Because the more I, share the knowledge with them, the more enlightened they are. And they realize that how much they rely on me to help them make sound decisions in their business.
Are there some things that you could share with us And every business is different. Every situation is different, but broadly to share some ideas, tips, things that people may be doing wrong in their business. Anything come to mind to me initially?
The first tip I can give to any business owner is, even if they're doing their own bookkeeping, they're trying to keep track of their, finances. If they can just set aside at least 15 minutes a week just to look at, the invoices they have sent out, just to look at the work they have done, to see whether they have sent out all the invoices for the jobs that they have completed. It makes a huge difference. Just that 15 minutes, have an overall view of what's happening in your business, right? End of the week, 15 minutes does it. The same, even if you have a existing bookkeeper or an accountant who takes care of this, just go through everything just for 15 minutes. It makes a huge difference. So when you have a bookkeeper working with you, when you look at, your, if you're using a cloud software like QuickBooks, you log in there and it's so easy. You go to the reports and you generate your profit and loss. When you look at that, you're like, oh, what's happening? Why did I spend, 20,000 in office expenses, right? It gets you, thinking, and then you reach out. I'm not sure. You ask questions, with your bookkeeper. Is this correct? Is that 20,000? Is that a correct figure? What I spent? And so, just that 15 minutes makes a huge difference, whether you're doing it yourself or somebody else is helping you with, keeping track of stuff.
I totally get it. It's a wake up call, because as an entrepreneur, you get so caught up in just running the business, you don't take the time to look at what's going on in terms of finances on the screen and such. Let me give you a situation my friend is dealing with. Again, I'm the wrong person to ask, but he's dealing with it, and I know somebody else. Sole proprietors in their companies, they do, and this two friends, they do a draw. They do a draw, not a
Okay.
W-2. So they don't have, a set salary. It's what they designate to be their salary. However, mixed in when they do their tax returns, as I understand it, the tax return represents the business and their personal all in one, because of the draw situation. But that can be problematic, because if you're hanging on to profit and you hadn't paid vendors, it looks like you have more money, but you really don't. And especially for one, he has to pay child support and alimony maintenance. So he's saying, well, this is not really my salary. What's here because of the draw situation.
Yeah.
I believe he's an LLC. What are your overall thoughts on that? And I know it's, like a little
Yes.
detailed, but I figured it's on my brain. We were
Yeah,
just
it's
talking
a
about it
really
last
good
night.
question, Steve. It's a really good question. And something I hear all the time, when I, in my advisory sessions, when I, share the profit and loss with my clients, tell them how much they have made, they confuse the profit in the business with actual cash in the bank. The cash you have in your bank is not the profit is not the same as the profit in your business, right? That profit, when you look at your profit and loss, that is whatever sales you have minus all your expenses. That includes whether you have paid someone or no. Regardless, they have sent you the invoice and we have tracked it. So the net amount is your actual, let's say it's the value left in your business. The
So,
net profit is the value left in the business after, you take account of all your expenses.
and I got you there. So I just want to add that, let's say at the end of the year, when you're reconciling everything, right? In his situation, he has vendors that allow him some credit. He doesn't have to pay the bill right away. Sometimes it goes 3 months, sometimes maybe a little bit more. And I said to him, congratulations on that. However, at the end of the year, it looks like, he says, it looks like I have more money because I haven't paid the last couple of months of vendor invoices. So he's saying that it looks like he has more money than he really does. And, 1 year rolls into the next. Overall thoughts on that?
Yes. That's why, apart from, the net profit, the other thing that entrepreneurs fail to keep track of is their cash flow, right? And one of the major issues that I have new clients signing up is because they need someone to help them manage that cash flow.
Mm.
You have, your clients, they pay you 60 days, and you have vendors, they expect you to pay them in 30 days.
Mm.
So, there is a 30-day gap where, you are in a cash crunch because you're not going to get paid by your clients in another 30 days, but you will have to settle all those bills because you want to, keep goodwill as well. You want them to,
Yep,
keep you as their client, right? Nobody
exactly.
wants a non-paying client, right? So cash flow, it's really important to understand cash flow. And, paying your vendors and collecting payments is not just related to your taxes, it's related to the health of your business, right? And sometimes you can't help it. You have a really big, especially when you're a smaller business and your clients are, bigger corporations, they have more leverage over you. And they might dictate the terms of payment. They say, hey, our net payment terms are 45 days. And there's not much you can do because if you want to keep their business, because they are your major clients, so you need to accept their payment terms. So then we look at what other ways can you, mitigate that cash flow risk, right? You could apply for a line of credit with the bank to help you with those short-term
Hmm.
cash flow issues till you get payment from your clients, and then the cash crunch is over. So again, these are things that a dedicated bookkeeper helps you with. Keeps an eye on your business health and guides you like what is the right step. How do you manage all these risks in your
Sure.
business?
Because every situation is different too.
Yeah, correct.
What if it could happen at any time for any reason, but what happens if you get that letter in the mail from the IRS and they want to audit your situation? And let's say you've been working with somebody for a while. Again, the IRS can just put a flag on something, has nothing to do with, your performance. But in that
Mhm.
situation, will you help represent? How does that work?
Yes, when there are different kinds of audits,
Hmm.
the lower level is just a review. They see something in your return, it doesn't make sense. They just reach out. They want the supporting document,
Sure.
right? It's very easy. You just talk to them on if you are the representative for that business, they will call you, and I usually tell them what the situation is, and sometimes they require just a small piece of document telling them why that discrepancy is on the tax return, and it's easy to resolve. Sometimes there are bigger audits where they need more documentation, they need more, and that's the beauty of the cloud accounting software, right?
Mm.
Everything is tracked. It makes it so easy to reply, to the tax authorities in these kind of situations because you have everything documented properly. And
And I
it's
love the fact that it's on a
yeah,
cloud where I would assume that you can access it, but if you need somebody else to access it, even the business owner, he could take a look or she could take a look at it, no matter where it is.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The business owner has access. If they have another employee in the business, who does the invoicing for them, they have access just to the invoicing function. And as the external bookkeeper and accountant, you have overall access to uh, the books of the business. So it makes everything much easier. And the business owner can actually, and another beauty I always recommend, another thing I recommend to my clients is, it's easier to invoice when you are on an accounting software. Almost all of them have an app. You can send the invoice right away if you're at a site, if you're, in the construction business, you finish the job, you just right away send them the invoice. You don't need to wait to go back to the office. And then it becomes another one of those things
Yes.
on your to-do list.
Yep. And automatically generated. Yeah. As opposed to having going back and going through. Yeah. That's a great point. What makes your services different than other bookkeepers?
The biggest, you know, plus point in my approach to dealing with my clients is I, as I say, I don't hoard knowledge. I like sharing it, right? And I have an open communication line with my clients. They send me an email and they know that I will respond to them within 24 hours. They get a response. And with a lot of other accountants and bookkeepers, it is difficult to get in touch with them. Some of them, it's impossible to get in touch with them during the tax season. Some of them, the only time you will get in touch with them is during the tax season.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Still waiting for a reply from my accountant, by the way, from last week. But I know he's busy. He might have been away, so I'll cut him a little bit of slack there. But thank you for the reminder. Now I have to send another email to get an answer on something that came from the IRS. Nothing major. It's just I forget what it's even called, but they recalculated something. I don't know what it is. That's why I'm reaching out to the accountant. Should send it to you. I get an answer in 5 seconds.
Yes, that's one of the things my clients send me. They send me an email, hey, I received this. And sometimes it's just an innocent, an email. They just send them, hey, we received, this payment, especially when you have to do
Sure.
tax installments. They just send a statement saying how much you have paid to date. And some of them really don't know what it says. So they're like, hey, do I have to pay anything? I'm like, no. They're just letting you know that so far to date, this is what your account balance is.
Yeah, it's something like that, or they recalculated what I'm should be paying in taxes, and if it comes from the IRS, it goes to the top of the stack.
Yes.
I just don't let them
and
wait.
it can be nerve-wracking, especially
Sure.
if people who haven't dealt with them. They're like, oh my God,
Well,
you don't want to.
nerve-wracking because I don't know what it is. That's
Yeah.
I have an idea if you read it, but then there's always that little question mark, and for something that's important like that's something that needs to be looked at. How about while we're talking taxes, deductions, anything that stands out for you in terms of bookkeeping, things that we can be mindful of? Again, every situation is different, but I'm just wondering if there's anything that stands out in your mind that we could be mindful of.
I'd say document everything, whatever deductions you're claiming, make sure you have the proper documentation. When I do taxes, I send a whole bunch of documents to my clients, and I would send a whole bunch of a checklist. Checklist helps them in, sometimes we forget, when we're sending the documents to our accountant, we forget that, whether we have medical expenses for the year, but when they look at that checklist, it's easy for them to, it clicks and, oh yeah, I have that. And it's easier for me when I'm doing it. So I just reference from the documents that I sent them, whether they have sent me everything that's required. And I always, tell my clients to, even if they're going to a new accountant, always share a copy of their last tax return. It helps the professional in seeing what has happened in the previous years, so they don't miss it in the current year, right? Especially when you are in the construction industry, there are a lot of deductions that you can claim. A lot of them use their own personal vehicle to drive to work sites, carry their equipment. So their vehicle expenses, a portion of their vehicle expenses is a deduction for their business expenses, right? If you have a home office, you're working from there, and even if you're not meeting clients, but you conduct business, so that is a business deduction, a portion of your home office expenses, right? So depending on the situation of the client, there are different deductions that they can have. And having a checklist helps in, going through that process and, like ticking it off and like making sure that you have covered all the possible things that you can claim on your tax return.
So I've heard, while we're talking about taxes and the IRS, that they, even if you're claiming gas, for your vehicle, maybe you use that for some travel for work, that you can't rely on credit card statements. You actually have to have the gas receipt that comes out of the gas pump.
Exactly. Correct. You're
Wow.
absolutely correct. And this is one of the things I tell my clients, but whenever I sign them on, in case of an audit or a review, even in Canada, CRA or IRS, they do not accept credit card or bank statements as proof. And again, that's the beauty of the cloud software. I'm going to go back there.
Yeah.
All of the, you have these apps, right? They can be so useful. As soon as you have that printout of your gas receipt, you can take a picture and upload it to your software. You have that copy forever in the
Wow.
software. It will not go away. And you have that proof. So whenever there is an audit or a review, you can access it from that software and you're good.
So am I understanding this right with that? And we referring to QuickBooks with an app?
Yes, QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBook, all of them, have an app, and they have that feature where you can upload your expense receipts to the software
So
from your, smartphone.
you go to get gas, the receipt comes out of the gas pump, you get back in your car, you call up the app, you can take a picture of the receipt and just add it to your portfolio, if you will,
Yeah,
and that's it. And then you're done.
exactly. You're done.
Wow. Wow. That's a win right there. Because,
And then the rest is I tell my clients, that's the only thing you need to do. You just need to take a picture and send, and upload it to the software. That's it. And I will do the rest.
people laugh at me when they get in my car because in my air conditioning vents,
Yeah.
I call it my file cabinet. And
Okay.
I stick inside there receipts from different things until I accumulate some. Then I take them out. Then I put them in a folder in a file cabinet. But it's that somebody said recently, is that your file cabinet in your car? I'm like, yeah. So I get the app and just take a
Yes. And
shot
then
of
you can
the
just throw away the receipt. You don't need to.
exactly.
Yeah. You don't need to
Wow.
keep it forever.
Final question. We're just about out of time. I always wondered this. Never enough clarity on this. How long should you keep documents for tax purposes?
How long you should eat? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Again, if you use an accounting software, you don't need to worry. It will be there as long as you have the subscription. It will always be there in this thing. That's the digital copy, and it is accepted. These are digital copies are accepted. You don't need to keep the paper, and you can, get rid of all those paper documents as long as you have the digital copy. But they require you to keep it for 6 years.
Oh, okay.
That's the legal requirement. You have it for 6 years. But sometimes in certain situations, I have seen in Canada, there was a case, they had gone back like 10 years and asked for this thing. Even though legally you're required to keep them only for 6 years.
Hmm. So I guess it's kind of up to the individual what they want to do, but 6 is sounds like the guideline.
Yes, yeah, that's the legal requirement.
Gotcha. Learned a lot today so far. We have more to talk about. If somebody is thinking about changing their bookkeeping situation, whether, gosh forbid, you're doing it on your own. And I did it once in the beginning when I started a business, and I would generate my invoices on Microsoft Word. Don't judge.
Oh, yeah.
That was then. How do we find you?
You can just send me an email at Benazir, BENAZIR at azonbookkeeping.ca, or you can go to my website. It is www.azonbookkeepingservices.com, and you can book a 15-minute free consultation to see, if we are a good fit for each other, and we can discuss what are your pain points and how we can overcome them.
And AZON spelled AZON. Thank you for today. Thanks for all the insight. Learned a lot and looking forward next time we get together.
Same here. It was a pleasure talking to you, Steve.
Same. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.